From time to time, we read something and we think it aligns with our point of view, so we get excited and we jump on it without looking at it very closely. Watch what happens to Maiz here when he starts cooking with Akhnai's oven.
If miracles and divine signs can be appealed to, then the resurrection proves him. And if prophecy and fulfillment matter, then the Messiah has come. If voices from heaven count, then the gospel wins. So the rabbis create a theology where none of that matters. Even God's own testimony can be ignored if the rabbis vote against it. And this is how they inoculate Judaism against Christianity. They create a system where miracles, prophecy, and revelation don't matter. Rabbinic authority can cancel them out. Even the prophets take a back seat to rabbinic vote. That way, no matter what happens, the voice of the rabbis can dismiss any claim at all. That's not just an accident of interpretation, that is deliberate.
That is terrible. Ladies and gentlemen, can you imagine a religion teaching you not to follow a voice from heaven? Don't even listen to it. If it goes against what our approved teachers have taught you, even if the voice comes from heaven itself, pay no attention to it. Can you imagine that? What kind of a religion would teach something like that?
But even if we, or an angel from heaven, should preach to you a gospel, contrary to the one we preach to you, let him be accursed. Galatians chapter 1 verse 8.
Oh no, poor Maiz, man. He just got done leaving Judaism. He's a Christian now. He has just embraced his new religion, only to find out that they're teaching the same terrible thing that Judaism taught. Or is it that terrible? I'm Steve Perry, this is Biblical Anarchy, and let's cook Maiz's bad ideas in Akhnai's oven so we can save Christianity for him, shall we?
Rabbi Yehoshua stands up and responds with the now very famous line, quoting the Torah, Lo b'shamayim hi, the Torah is not in heaven. The Gemara explains what he means by that. Rabbi Yirmiyah says that the revelation ended at Sinai. Everything that God was going to reveal, he revealed then. From that point on, rulings are in the hands of the rabbis, and the decisions are made by a majority vote. And to prove this, they cite Exodus chapter 23, verse 2, 3 words at the very end of the verse specifically, Acharei Rabim Lahatot, follow the majority, supposedly.
Now, fortunately, Maiz left the source on the screen for us so that we can go through what was actually said and not what he claims was said, because there is a difference between what was actually said and what he claims was said. Now, some of the places he's just changing the words, which alters the meaning, but in other places he doesn't seem to be comprehending what he's reading, and so he's just inaccurately reporting back what he read. But it seems to be a genuine mistake in some places, that his reading comprehension is suffering in those areas. So we're going to go through and break it down and take a look and see what the text actually says, as opposed to what Maiz claims it says.
Rabbi Yirmiyah says that the revelation ended at Sinai. Everything that God was going to reveal, he revealed then.
So no, the rabbi did not say that divine revelation ended at Sinai. He said that the Torah had already been revealed at Sinai, and this is going to be important. Next.
From that point on, rulings are in the hands of the rabbis, and the decisions are made by a majority vote. And to prove this, they cite Exodus chapter 23, verse 2, 3 words at the very end of the verse specifically, Acharei Rabim Lahatot, follow the majority, supposedly.
But that verse is not cited to prove that they follow the majority. Read the quote. It is cited to explain why it is not in heaven. So, let's take these 3 sentences, break them down, and show where Maiz is running completely off the rails, causing him to draw the false conclusion that they are using this text to support the idea that they rule by majority. As we see here, the first sentence asks a question. What is the meaning of the phrase, it is not in heaven? The second sentence, which quotes Exodus 23, verse 2, is answering that question and is not using Exodus 23, verse 2 to address the next statement that says that the majority of the rabbis disagreed with Rabbi Eliezer's opinion. The halakha is not ruled in accordance with his opinion. This is a statement of fact, but it is not using Exodus 23 verse 2 to back up the statement of fact. Exodus 23 verse 2 is used to answer the question, what is the relevance of the phrase, it is not in heaven? Now here, by breaking the sentence into three parts, we see what the sentence is actually saying. We get an introduction for a quote, followed by the citation for a quote in white, followed by the quote itself. Now, since we are being informal here, we don't need to give a citation. We're not going to get sued for copyright infringement. So let's just take the citation out of the sentence, and then we see exactly what the rabbi is saying. The rabbi says, since the Torah was already given at Mount Sinai, we do not regard a divine voice after a majority to incline. So he's saying the exact opposite of what Maiz is claiming he says. He says we do not allow a divine voice to tell us to follow a majority. However, in the story, they do follow the majority. So what's happening? Well, we've got a guy here named Akhnai. Akhnai has an oven. He wants to know if his oven is kosher or not. So they ask the rabbis. We've got Rabbi Eliezer here who says, yes, the oven is kosher. But he stands by himself in this declaration. Opposing him are the rest of the rabbis. They say, no, the oven is not kosher. In the end, they follow the majority of the rabbis. And this is where Maiz is getting confused. Yes, they follow the majority of the rabbis, but this is not what the Gemara is saying that Exodus 23 verse 2 applies to. So let's clear the whole thing up. What happens? The majority of the rabbis say the oven is not kosher. Eliezer insists it is kosher. He then calls for a couple of miraculous events to confirm his opinion, and the events happen. He then calls for a voice from heaven to back up his position. The voice from heaven says Rabbi Eliezer is right, but they do not follow his opinion, citing Deuteronomy 30, it is not in heaven. What does that mean? Let's take a look at the passage in question. And we're going to read the whole thing in context. It says, for this commandment that I command you today is not too hard for you, neither is it far off. It is not in heaven that you should say, who will ascend to heaven for us and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it. Neither is it beyond the sea that you should say, who will go over the sea for us and bring it to us, that we may hear it and do it. But the word is very near to you. It is in your mouth and in your heart so that you can do it. In other words, this law isn't so difficult that somebody from heaven has to come down and explain it to you. You don't have to travel over the seas to find the most brilliant sages on earth to explain it to you. You can figure it out and do it. This is why they side with the majority of the rabbis. And to back this up, the rabbi quotes from Exodus, but notice, they're not following the majority of the rabbis according to Exodus. That's not what he's getting at. You have to look at the text in Exodus and see what the majority, what the multitude are doing in that text in order to understand why he cited that text. So Exodus 23 verse 2 says, you shall not fall in with the many to do evil, nor shall you bear witness in a lawsuit siding with the many so as to pervert justice. Here, the many are doing evil. So what does the rabbi say? We do not side with a divine voice to follow the many. We already have a revelation from Torah. The many here are doing evil. They are sinning. How does that apply to our story? Here in Exodus, the majority are leading us into sin. Now, let's apply that to Akhnai's oven. If Akhnai's oven is in fact kosher, but we side with the majority of the rabbis who say it's not kosher, then what we do is we destroy an oven that is kosher, right? We have to destroy it, can't cook in it, it's not kosher. So we destroy a kosher oven. Is that a sin? The answer is no. But what if we side with Rabbi Eliezer and it turns out that the other rabbis were right and the oven is not kosher? Then we are cooking food in an oven that is not kosher, rendering the food not kosher. So we are now eating non-kosher food, which is a sin because we followed Rabbi Eliezer's advice when he was wrong. And this is the relevant of the quote of Exodus. We do not allow a divine voice to tell us to follow a multitude into sin. Right? This is what the rabbi is saying. Even if a voice from heaven comes and contradicts the known revelation, which is the Torah, they believe the Torah to be the revelation of God, and it's a known revelation. So even if a voice from heaven contradicts the known revelation that we already have, We don't follow that, which is exactly what Paul was saying. We've already preached the gospel to you. Paul says this gospel was revealed to me by Jesus himself, so I know this is the correct gospel. Even if an angel from heaven came and told you to follow some other teaching, don't follow it. Follow the approved teaching from the known revelation that you already have. Both of these sources are saying the exact same thing, and it is exactly what you would expect a religion to say. So we don't go chasing after voices from heaven that contradict the known revelation that we already have. So this Akhnai's oven story is not controversial. It's not problematic. It's not a polemic against Christianity. This is a bit of paranoia on Maiz's part. Now, either he doesn't know this and he made a genuine mistake, or he knows this and he's misleading you. It could be either, because ladies and gentlemen, I tried to explain this in the comments on his video. He deleted those comments. He left the comment where I got a little smart with him, but he deleted the comments where I was explaining this, and that could be because he doesn't want his followers to know the truth. He could be intentionally misleading them. At this point, I don't know. But the fact of the matter is, this is wrong, and he knows it's wrong. Because if he didn't know it was wrong, he would not have deleted my comments. He would have corrected me. But he didn't. He just deleted them because he knows he's wrong. So at this point, he's in error. He needs to correct his error and point out that this passage isn't saying anything like what he claims it is. You disagree with me? Notice how I say this at the end of my video? I don't delete your comments if you disagree with me. So leave me a comment down below and tell me. If you enjoy the video, give it a thumbs up, share it on social media, subscribe to the channel, whatever you do. Don't just sit there. Do something.